for Hopkins. Oh, my goodness. Did he catch that? Did he catch that? That's the touchdown catch of the year, if that's good.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
I think Carson Wentz throws for over 400 yards and 4 touchdowns in his return against the Indianapolis Colts to lead the Eagles to victory on Sunday.
You were just talking about him, Drew Brees, one of the best quarterbacks of all time, one of my favorite players of all time. Not only is he going to break the passing yard record this week, he only needs 201 yards to do it. He's going to obliterate it.
Welcome to 4th and Long, your weekly NFL talk show here on Com Radio. Now, here are your hosts, Jason Marcus and DJ Bauer.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of 4th and Long here on Com Radio. I'm your host, Jason Marcus, alongside me, DJ Bauer and Francesco. We have a great show for you guys tonight. It's a little bit shorter than usual. We're only going to be going about 30 minutes here, but nonetheless, it was still an exciting week in the NFL. DJ, how you doing today?
Pretty good. Ready to talk some football.
And Francesco, glad to have you guys back with us again. Obviously, your second time here on the podcast. How are you doing, Francesco?
I'm doing great. We had a really good week of NFL football, and I'm ready to talk about it.
Absolutely. A lot of really good games, and I think the biggest story of this past week, we got to talk about that Sunday night football game between the Kansas City Chiefs and the New England Patriots. What a show Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes put on. DJ, I'm going to go to you first. What was your initial reaction to that game on Sunday night?
I think it was pretty much what we expected. High-scoring game, both teams don't have really great defenses, but, the offenses have just been excellent like they've been all year, or at least, all of Tom Brady's career. And I'm not really surprised to see the Patriots pull it out. I know that in our predictions last week, I picked the Chiefs to win that game because they've really, just handed it to the Patriots these past couple years. But it's Tom Brady. He did what he did. Even though they had a big lead and they almost blew it, he was able to save it at the end for him. It's pretty much what you expected, just super exciting action and drama.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool to see Pat Mahomes go into Foxborough and just put on the show that he did. I think a stat came out that only one quarterback under the age of 25 has ever gone into Foxborough and beaten Tom Brady, and that was Colin Kaepernick in, I believe, 2012. Francesco, I'm going to go to you. Were you able to watch this game? And if so, what were your reaction to it?
Yeah, I mean, it looked really good for the Chiefs' offense. I think the only issue was that Pat Mahomes and the rest of that offense put up 40 points, and they still couldn't pull out a win.
Right.
And not only that, but it wasn't even, the Patriots were outscoring them by that much. It was just one drive at the end that they messed up on. And I'm scared for the Chiefs when Pat Mahomes and everyone else can't put up 40 points. I think that's going to, especially because the Patriots' offense, I mean, it's great it's great every year, but it hasn't been as well as it could be.
Yeah, I think this year, particularly for the Patriots, their offenses look more dynamic than usual, which is saying something considering, they reached the Super Bowl, what seems like every year. But they got a lot of weapons this week, this year, I should say. Sony Michel has given them a whole nother dynamic in the backfield. You got Josh Gordon there along with Julian Edelman and Chris Hogan. Gronk is healthy for the time being. We'll check in 3 weeks and see if that's still the case. But, right now, this Patriots offense really does look unstoppable. Obviously, Kansas City went blow for blow for them, but it really does come down to the defense, and I think that's the biggest concern for Kansas City going forward.
I like that you mentioned Sony Michel. I think maybe, just maybe, the New England Patriots have finally found a running back.
Yeah.
Because for these past couple seasons, they've gone through guys like Deion Lewis and Rex Burkhead, and remember good old Jonas Gray, the one-game wonder against Indy. They really haven't found an established rusher in the backfield, and I think maybe with Sony Michel, he's got 400 yards on the season, 4 touchdowns. He's really been playing well these past couple weeks. Maybe they found their guy.
Yeah, and of course they're still using James White in that offense quite a bit as well, so it's not just like it's just Sony Michel. They have a running back by committee back there, and they're all participating, so just another element to that Patriots offense. Another game I want to talk about also having to do with quarterbacks here. It's actually the Monday night football game between the Green Bay Packers and the San Francisco 49ers. The shootout between C.J. Beathard and Aaron Rodgers that nobody expected here, but of course the game ends as any other Packers game should, with a game-winning drive by 12 Aaron Rodgers Rodgers. I thought it was another one of those just iconic moments in the career of Aaron Rodgers. I feel like as I was watching this live, there was no doubt in my mind that Aaron Rodgers, when he got that ball with that couple seconds left, that he was going to go down the field and win the game. And I think Mason Crosby hitting that game-winning field goal after the terrible week he had before was a perfect way to cap it up. Francesco, I want to go to you first. What do you think it is about Aaron Rodgers that makes him so great? Or did you have any doubt watching that game that Aaron Rodgers was going to be able to pull this off?
Absolutely not. I think something that you can't teach quarterbacks is just their decision-making and just, their overall clutchness. I don't think I've ever seen a quarterback single-handedly carry a team for so long as Aaron Rodgers has done. And I think that it's really – he should – by far be in the top quarterback conversation with just the way that he's single-handedly. I mean, you look at the Patriots and all the weapons they've had and all the coaching they've had, and just when you look at the Packers, how they stayed in the playoffs for 15 straight seasons or something like that?
Yep.
It was all Aaron Rodgers, and I think just he does what he does, and I don't think it's going to stop until he retires.
Yeah, and I think one thing that makes Aaron Rodgers even that more impressive is, and you kind of alluded to it, Francesco, but the fact that the general manager in Green Bay has really never given him any other weapons or supporting cast around him. They went out and they got Jimmy Graham this past offseason, which is a rarity to see the Packers go out and get these stud free agents. But other than that, he's had some great wide receivers in Jordy Nelson and Greg Jennings and Donald Driver and all those guys, but realistically, all those people were, it's a credit to great drafting, but at the same time, they're not really known for spending money and getting help. And I think if they were to go out and get a star running back this offseason, that might be enough to put the Packers over the edge. What do you think, TJ?
They've obviously got work to do. With Aaron Rodgers under center, anything is possible. This is the guy, I know Francesco hit on a lot of these points, but this guy's been doing it for 15 years now. I think they really need a lot of help defensively. The 49ers, I give him credit. I'll give C.J. Beathard credit. He had a great game, but it's C.J. Beathard. It's, Matt Breida played in the game, and he scored a touchdown in a game where clearly he was not 100% healthy. They can't allow 30 points to teams like the 49ers coming up, so I think that's where they need to make their adjustments.
And now moving on to some not great games from this past week. We actually had a real surpriser here where the Cowboys defeating the Jacksonville Jaguars 40-7. A rare great offensive showing here for the Dallas Cowboys here. DJ, why do you think the Cowboys suddenly came on so strong, especially against such a what's supposed to be one of the best defenses in the league in the Jacksonville Jaguars?
This is just the type of game that makes you look at the score and you start scratching your head. Because nothing leading up to this game would have expected this to happen. Dallas has looked pretty atrocious on offense all year. Ezekiel Elliott's really been their only one star. And then just to come out and, Dak Prescott put on a spectacle, 17 for 27, 2 touchdowns. And, of course, Ezekiel Elliott with another 100-yard game. We really couldn't have seen this happening. It's just unexpected, especially against this Jaguars team that we've been calling one of the best defenses in the league for the past year now. Are they maybe not as good as we thought they once were?
I don't know, Francesco, what do you think? Was this more of a Cowboys win or a Jaguars loss? Which way do you see it?
I think that the Cowboys at this point realize that the rest of the East does not look very good. And I think especially after the past couple of weeks, they've realized that if they want to run away and win the division, it's got to be during this time. And so I think they gave it everything they got this game. This was a game that they needed to win to prove that they should belong at the top of the East and they belong in the playoffs. I don't think that this represents how the Jaguars should look. Blake Bortles will be Blake Bortles, but I think they're a better team than this score represents. I don't think the Cowboys are really this good. I think they had a lot of heart this game, and I think that they really knew that this was a game that they had to prove themselves in, and they did.
All right, well, that's going to lead us into our first break of the show. When we come back, we are going to give our official predictions for the next upcoming week in the NFL, as well as our bold predictions at the end of the show. You are listening to Fourth and Long on Com Radio, and we will be right back.
Welcome back to Fourth and Long with Jason Marcus and DJ Bauer here on Com Radio.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Fourth and Long on Com Radio. I'm your host, Jason Marcus, alongside me, DJ Bauer and Francesco. We are now looking forward to Week 7 of the NFL, and it starts off with a Thursday night football game between the Denver Broncos at the Arizona Cardinals. Not one of the more exciting primetime games, I'd say, this season. Both of these teams definitely look like they are underperforming. DJ, I'm going to go to you, though. If you had to give an edge to one of these teams, who do you think has it?
I think we're beginning to see that maybe it's a lost season for both of these teams. I mean, look at their division leaders. The Chiefs are just, far and above everyone else, it looks like, in the AFC West. Really only the Chargers maybe can catch them. And no one's going to get the Rams in the NFC West. So I don't really see either of these teams doing much. I guess I'll give Denver the edge just because they're a little bit more talented. But, they can't let David Johnson run 208 yards on them again if they want to win, like Todd Gurley did last week.
Francesco, what about you? Who do you think gets the win here?
Yeah, I think both teams have really underperformed this season. I think, like you guys said, it's a lost season for both of them. But I think that one team that could play a little bit better than they have been is the Broncos. I just think that they have some pieces on that team. They have Von Miller, they have Bradley Chubb. They could be playing a little bit better than they have been, so I'm going to give it to them.
Yeah, I actually agree with you, Francesco. I actually think the Broncos are going to win this one. I think it's going to be a close game, but overall, I like their defense better, and I think they have more explosive offensive pieces when you look at, Royce Freeman, Patrick Lindsey, Demaryius Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, and Case Keenum can turn it on when he needs to, as we saw all of last season. So, close one, but I'm going to go with the Broncos, get a road win here.
Look at that. We're all in agreement.
Up next, we have the Tennessee Titans at the Los Angeles Chargers. This one, I believe, is in London.
It is.
So Chargers are technically the home team here, so it'll be at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, an early game for us. DJ, who do you get? Who gets the big win here across the pond?
All right, this is a game of two teams that one has been very good all season, and the other one has been inexplicably good at times and inexplicably bad at other times.
Yep.
Gee, guess which one's which? I'm going to go with the team that's been consistently good. The offense has looked absolutely explosive for the Chargers as of late, so yeah, I like them to win across the pond.
What about you, Francesco? Who do you got?
Yeah, I agree with the Chargers. I would definitely take Phillip Rivers over Mariota at this point, and I just think that there are certain, like you guys said, there are certain things about the Titans that just look horrible, and sometimes they just let some horrible things happen on that team. And I think a much more consistent team is going to go in and they're going to stop any exploitations from the Titans in any way. So I'm going to give it to the Chargers.
Yeah, I think we're going to make it 3-for-3 here. Say Los Angeles gets a big win here. I don't think this one's close at all. Tennessee gave up 11 sacks last week, and now they're facing Corey Legit and Joey Bosa, so I don't think that's going to get better. And the Chargers have just been firing on all cylinders, both offensive and defensively, so Chargers are going to get an easy win here, I believe. Carolina Panthers at the Philadelphia Eagles. DJ, this is probably one of the most even matchups within the 1 o'clock games, one I'm personally looking forward to. It's a big game for both of these teams, though. Who walks away with a win?
I like Philadelphia, not just because it's a home game, but also I think they're getting back on track. You saw them go into New York last week and just utterly stomp the Giants. That's the kind of morale booster that this team needed, and I think if they can get on the right track, and maybe that was the win that puts them back on the right track, we might see a return to form like we saw in that Super Bowl squad last year, and I'd like them to do that this week, so I'm picking the Eagles.
Francesco, what about you?
I think I might go the Panthers on this one. I think while beating the Giants, stopping the Giants like that is a morale booster, I don't think that's much to brag about. I think that's something everyone could have expected, and I think Carolina is a better team than most people expect. So while the Eagles might look good coming out of that game, I think they're going to be in for a rude awakening.
This game makes me nervous because Cam Newton and Christian McCaffrey are two of the most talented offensive players in the league. Eagles defense, if it plays the way it played against the Giants, I think the Eagles are going to get the win here, but it could go either way. But I'm going to go with the Eagles, get a home win. Up next, Minnesota Vikings at the New York Jets. DJ, who's going to win and why?
All right, this is actually one of the more interesting games of the week. I get a feeling that a lot of people are going to pick the Vikings to win this one handily, but I don't get that same sentiment. I am going to pick the Vikings to win because I think they have been looking better recently, especially on the offense. But the Jets have actually looked kind of solid. I mean, maybe it was a fluke last week that they put up 42 points against Indianapolis, but maybe this team is also getting back on track like what we saw in Week 1 against Detroit. So really anything could happen in this one. I am going to take the visiting team, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets came away with a win.
I also wouldn't be that surprised. I do think I'm going to give it to the Vikings, though. Adam Thielen, how many games? 6 straight games with 100 yards?
6 straight.
100 or more yards. I mean, that's due to snap at some point. I don't think it's going to be this game. And, I mean, if you have an 100-yard receiver, you're in a really good position to win. I also just think that Minnesota is just good all around. And, with a rookie quarterback, he's bound to slip up every once in a while. So I'm going to give it to the Vikings.
I agree with you, Francesco. I think the Vikings are the better team at every phase and every level, so I'm going to go with the Vikings to get a road win here. Buffalo Bills at the Indianapolis Colts in what might be the most unwatchable game this week. But nonetheless, we got to talk about it. So, DJ, who wins this massacre?
All right. I'm actually going to go with Indy on this one. I don't think it's going to be a very pretty game, like you said. But I do like Andrew Luck. I think he is one of the better quarterbacks in this NFL when he's healthy, and he's shown that this season. As for the Bills, they have a solid defense, and I think that they can do a pretty good job of stopping Luck. But what are they going to do on the offense? I mean, how many times have we mentioned this year that they have no offensive line, they have no offensive weapons? LaShawn McCoy has not been super effective like we thought he once was. And now the quarterback situation just got even worse. How is that even possible? They go from Tyrod Taylor, traded him. All right, A.J. McCarron. Nope, traded him. All right, let's go with the rookie, Josh Allen. Nope, he's hurt. Nathan Peterman, nah, he sucks. Guess we got to go with Derek Anderson, the 500-year-old veteran that we just signed this week. It's not a good situation for the Bills, and I don't see them winning.
The only thing good about this game is that I have LaShawn McCoy in my fantasy team, since he's going to be the only one touching the ball this next Sunday.
Yeah, I'm going to have to give it to the Colts also. I think if Nathan Peterman's even in a conversation to play, even though I know he didn't get the start, but if he's even, if you have to compete with him, I don't think that's a good look on you. I mean, just the Bills, I don't think they're going anywhere this season with their quarterback situation. And I think this is a game, one of the few games I think the Colts could find a win in.
Yeah, I think this one actually might be closer than people think, because I don't think Derek Anderson's a scrub. I think he actually could very well find a way to pull out the win here for Buffalo. I think their defense isn't really that bad, but I'm going to go with the Colts to get the win here simply just because I think Andrew Luck is by far the best player on that field, and I think Andrew Luck is going to do some pretty incredible things. And if T.Y. Hilton plays in this game, it's a lock. New England Patriots at the Chicago Bears, probably one of the most fun matchups in the 1 o'clock games that we have this upcoming Sunday. New England obviously coming off that big win at home against Kansas City on Sunday Night Football. DJ, do they continue their momentum, or does Chicago play spoiler?
I'm going Patriots. I think they've looked better than they have at the beginning of the season. It seems like a recurring trend for the Patriots that they kind of struggle at the beginning of the year, and everyone's like, oh, is the dynasty falling now? But no, they recover every time because it's the Patriots. It's what the Patriots do. And I think they're going to do it again this week. The main reason I say that is because Khalil Mack kind of got bruised up in that last game against Miami. And you saw that the defense looked a lot different when he was not on the field. I mean, they ended up losing that one in overtime. So if he's out of the game, I mean, he's questionable right now with that ankle injury. If he doesn't play, I think that the Patriots come away with this one easily. If he does play, it becomes a little bit of a different game, but I'm still going to give them the edge.
I think this game depends entirely on Khalil Mack playing.
I agree.
I think if he's playing, I think the Bears might be able to pull this one out. The Patriots are coming off a huge game. The Bears are not coming off a great finish. I think the one way teams have proven to beat Tom Brady every year is just that one or two really good pass rushers.
100%.
Khalil Mack in there. Home game, things are looking up for the Bears this season. I think that energy might be able to give Trubisky and the rest of that team the win.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth, Francesco. I think if it's proven if you want to beat Brady the Patriots, you have to get pressure on the quarterback, which the Bears have shown they're able to do. So I very well could see the Bears getting the upset here, but I'm not going to bet against Brady. He's arguably the best of all time, so I'm going to go with the Patriots on this one. Cleveland Browns at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. DJ, did the Browns get the third win of the season against a struggling Buccaneers defense who just fired their defensive coordinator?
Yes, they do. I think Baker Mayfield goes on the road. He's proven so far that he's been a solid quarterback, even though he's been a little bit iffy at times, didn't do too well against Baltimore or Los Angeles. But this is a great opportunity for him to go against a defense that we know is not very good, beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, go back up to 3-1 on the season, and maybe maintain themselves in that AFC North divisional hunt. It's a pretty tight race right now. I mean, the Bengals, Ravens, and Steelers are all looking good, but I don't think the Browns are actually too far out of it.
Yeah, I'm going to have to give this one to the Browns also. I think they, like you guys said, they just fired their defensive coordinator. Not only that, I don't think they're too happy with anyone at quarterback in Tampa Bay. And I just think that whole situation, things are going to go downhill for them. And I think this is a perfect opportunity for a team that definitely needs to prove themselves like Cleveland and, their young quarterback to go get a win.
I'm actually going to take the other side of this. I'm going to take the home team Buccaneers to pull out a win here. I think that Deshaun Jackson and Mike Evans and that Buccaneers offense is going to play really well this Sunday against a average Cleveland Browns defense. So I'm actually going to go with the Bucs on this one. Houston Texans at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Again, both these teams really underperforming in the past couple weeks, but you got to give a win to someone. So, DJ, who's it going to be?
This is definitely one of the games to watch because this one looks like maybe it's a big momentum changer. Because right now, Jacksonville is on a downward swing, that's for sure. I mean, they just got blown out by the Cowboys, and nobody does that. And then there's the Texans, who have been actually on the upswing after, I think they started 0-3, didn't they? And they've won their last 3 in a row?
I believe so, yeah.
So, to come into Jacksonville and maybe play against a defense that hasn't looked as good as it should have is maybe a little bit of a confidence booster there, but I'm still not going to take away too much credit from this Jacksonville defense. Even, last week's 40-7 blowout, maybe it was just a fluke. Maybe they get back on track here. I am going to stick with the home team on this one and pick the Jags to pull it out, but Houston could easily come in and pull off the upset.
I think this is gonna be one of the more close games this week. I think that while Jacksonville is coming off a really tough game, they have some players on that defense, especially Jalen Ramsey. I feel like Jalen Ramsey is the type of player that could go have a really bad game and then bounce right back. Like you guys said, Houston is on an upswing. I think this is gonna be a close one, but I think I'm gonna give it to the home team also.
I think this game completely falls on the shoulders of Deshaun Watson. I think if he plays well, the Texans are going to get the win, and if he doesn't, the Jaguars are going to blow him out. So with that being said, I'm going to say that the Texans get the win here. I think Deshaun Watson plays well. I think the Jaguars drop 2 in a row, and we really start to question a lot of stuff going on in Jacksonville after this one. Up next, Detroit Lions at the Miami Dolphins. DJ, who do you got?
I'm going to go Lions. I'm still pretty high on this team. I know a lot of people aren't because the Bears have looked really good. The Vikings and Packers look like they're getting back on track. So this NFC North is pretty hotly contested. But I don't think that the Lions are out of it, and I think they're going to prove that this week. They're coming off a bye, which helps. Everyone's rested. Everyone's feeling happy. And the Dolphins, I know that they just came off with a big upset over Chicago. But, Brock Osweiler passed for 384 yards. He's not going to do that again. It's Brock Osweiler. I don't see them beating Detroit, even if it is a home game for Miami. And Miami is a pretty tough place to play, especially in that sweltering sun. But when it comes down to pretty much on paper, the Lions look so much like the better team. And I think they're going to prove that here in Miami this week.
I actually think I might go with Miami on this one. The Lions, again, they're coming off a bye. They're well-rested. But I think this is the first time, and of course the Patriots, they always have a little bit of struggles in the beginning of the year. I think this is the first time in a while that an AFC East team, besides the Patriots, has actually looked kind of good. And I don't think that this is a game that the Dolphins are going to let slip away from them. I think they know that the Bears are a good team. I think they definitely know that the Lions are a good team. And I think that winning a game like this, especially with, while the Patriots might pull out a win this weekend, it could be a close one. So I think they know that this weekend might be a momentum changer in the AFC East. So I'm going to give it to them.
Yeah, I don't like either of these teams long term, but I'm going to go with the Dolphins on this one just because they seem to have momentum on their side. No real reason other than that. Although Brock Osweiler's playing in this, so if he plays like he did last week, then yeah, I think they'll win. But if he plays like we've known him to play, then the Lions should win this one easily. But I'll officially say the Dolphins get the win here. All right, rapid fire now. Saints at Ravens. DJ, really quickly, who's going to win?
I'm going Saints. This one's an enticing one, and I'm going to revisit this when we get back to our bold predictions. But I like New Orleans to go on the road and pull off a victory in Baltimore.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to give this one to the Saints. I think Drew Brees has been proving that this Saints team is one of the better ones we've seen in a long time, and I think they're going to prove it here.
I think the Ravens lost to the Browns a couple weeks ago, and that's all you need to know where my prediction is going. Saints have looked on fire. Drew Brees is going to get his 500th touchdown. Saints are going to win this one pretty easily. Dallas Cowboys at Washington Redskins. DJ, who you got?
I'm picking the home team. I like the Redskins. Cowboys, we talked about it so many times before, 40 points up against the Jaguars. They're not going to do that again. And the Redskins, I think, have been surprisingly decent. They just pulled off a win against Carolina, who we all know is pretty good. So let's go Skins again.
I think this is going to be another close one. While I don't think Dallas is as good as the score last weekend leads people to believe, I mean, how do you win 40-7 and not have a whole lot of momentum coming into a big divisional game? So I think I'm going to give it to the Cowboys.
This one is hard to call. I'm going to go with the Redskins, though. I think just they're the home team. I know the Cowboys had a really good week last week, but I personally think it's a fluke. This one is a very close one to call, but I'm going Washington on this. LA Rams at the San Francisco 49ers. DJ?
Thumbs up to the Niners for putting up a good fight against Green Bay last week, but I don't see them doing it 2 weeks in a row. I got to go with the heavy favorites, Los Angeles.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Los Angeles is going to go undefeated all season, but it's not going to be this week. I mean, I think Todd Gurley has just been proving that he can completely run the offense, so I'm going to give it to the Rams.
We're going 3 for 3. I think the Rams are going to continue their undefeated streak. They may lose eventually, but it's not going to be now. Sunday Night Football this week, we got the Cincinnati Bengals at the Kansas City Chiefs, two of the biggest offenses in the NFL. DJ, who pulls out the edge?
I would have liked to have seen Saints and Ravens in primetime this week, but this one's also a pretty solid substitute. It'll be interesting to see Mahomes play in Sunday night, second week in a row. This time he's got the home atmosphere, so I'm going to go Chiefs.
I think the Chiefs have kind of made a reputation of starting out really strong and then flaming out. I think that especially with this new young quarterback who's so promising, they're not going to let that happen again. I think they're going to bounce back from that Patriots game and get the win.
I think the Chiefs continue their undefeated streak here. I think the Bengals will put up a decent fight, but I think Pat Mahomes and that Chiefs offense looks too dynamic right now for them to handle. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs win at home on primetime. And then our last game of Week 7 in the NFL, Monday Night Football, New York Giants at the Atlanta Falcons. DJ, who you got?
I got to go with the Falcons here. I know that only a game separates the record between these two teams, but if you take a bigger glance at them, you can tell that the Falcons are the better team. Even though their defense has struggled because they've lost key guys, I mean, the offense is just unstoppable with Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley's been really solid. And, the Giants really haven't done anything on offense. They've proven that they can't do anything, even with guys like Saquon and Odell. So, why would I pick them to win in Atlanta? I'm going Falcons.
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of don't know why this game's in Monday Night Primetime. I mean, it's like you guys said, one game separating the two, but the Falcons have just looked so much better, especially with everything going on in New York. I think this is going to be a thrashing. Saquon's probably going to get 100-plus scrimmage yards again, but that doesn't really matter.
Again, I completely agree with you, Francesco. I think Saquon has a really good game, but overall, I think Atlanta's offense is too much for this Giants defense to handle, and I think Atlanta gets a win at home. Plus, Matt Ryan historically is really good at home, so I'm going with the Falcons win here. That is it for our predictions for Week 7. Before we sign off the air real quickly, each of us are going to give a bold prediction for this week. DJ, we are going to start with you.
All right, I'm going to revisit Saints and Ravens. Two interesting stats I want to bring up. You can't have an episode of Fourth and Long without DJ's fun facts here.
True.
Ravens still have yet to give up a touchdown in the second half of a game in the 2018 NFL season. Drew Brees has beaten every team in the NFL, all 31 except for the Ravens. They're the only one he has not beaten. So here's a bold prediction. The Saints are going to beat the Ravens, and Brees is going to get that record, but the Ravens are still not going to let up a second-half touchdown. I know that the Saints are a fourth-quarter offense, but let's say that they have a really good first-half heavy game, and the Ravens try to make a comeback in the end and just cannot close it.
I'm going to go to the Rams-49ers game. I did the math, and Todd Gurley is on pace to be just a few touchdowns short of LaDainian Tomlinson's single-season touchdown record. I think that he knows he needs to step the pace up, so I'm thinking 4 or more touchdowns from him that game. I think it's going to be a great game touchdown-wise for him.
And then finally, to wrap things up, my bold prediction this week comes from that Monday Night Football game between the New York Giants and the Atlanta Falcons. Julio Jones is, I think, in the top 3 of receiving yards this year, but it's been held without a touchdown. Not only does he get his first touchdown this week, I think he has 3 against the Giants on Monday Night Football.
And it'll be the only 3 he gets all year.
Absolutely. So thank you guys so much for listening to this edition of Fourth and Long. We will be back next week, Wednesday at 6 p.m. Thanks so much for listening. Take care, everyone, and bye-bye.